Hey guys, welcome to the Cheap DM. I'm the Cheap DM and today I'm going to be showing you how to make really cheap miniatures out of hot glue, toothpicks, bobby pins, and foam. These miniatures are perfect for any campaign you might be running, and they can even be painted. So let's get started. So what we're going to need is a hot glue gun, toothpicks, some sort of cutting thing, a bobby pin, and some wire cutters. The bobby pin is optional and you don't really need the wire cutters if you're not going to have the bobby pin, and foam. So what you're going to do is take the bobby pin and spread it open just like this, and then you're going to just close it back. The reason you do this is just so it's not like super tight together and it gets that stupid like kink out of the top of it, so it's like it doesn't look like legs, because this is going to be the legs of the model. This is why I said earlier that this was optional and you could just use toothpicks. Also, when you get a bobby pin, make sure you're using one with only one little dent in it if it has a dent. You don't want one with like a gajillion, because then it just looks like they have like a broken leg or something. So now you're just going to take the bobby pin and wrap it in hot glue. Make sure to start from like the inside and move outwards. It makes it easier to glue, so you don't end up just gluing your gun to the bobby pin, because that'd be kind of silly. And it should end up like this. So here I was adding another layer of hot glue just to fill out the body a bit more, and then I took a toothpick and I tried like kind of swirling it into the hot glue to see if I could get it to stick, but it ultimately just kind of covered sticking glue. So I took a new end and just poked it through the hardened glue, and that worked out just fine. And I make sure to twist it too. Twisting it makes it go through a bit easier. So here's this. Next I'm just going to take these nail clippers and pinch off the ends of the toothpick so that they're arm length for the miniature. What I like to do is just kind of pinch it at one angle and then move 90 degrees and then pinch it off completely. If you do this, it'll make sure that whatever you're snipping off doesn't go flying across your room, and I think it gives you a probably cleaner cut as well. So next I took the end of the toothpick we just cut off, and I heated up the hot glue and just jammed the end of the toothpick into the top of the miniature, or the top of the body, and that's going to be like the brace for the head, or I guess you just call it the neck. And of course you got to cut off the excess as well. So next we're just going to make the head. So just put a glob of glue on top of the neck we just made, and make sure to move it around so it doesn't fall off or like drip way too far, and then just use your fingers to shape it into like the kind of orb that you want, and then put on a little bit more to fill out the head completely. I was planning on making a ranger, so I didn't make the head super huge because I was going to put a hood on it, which I'll be making here just next. So to make the hood, you're just going to put a layer of hot glue on whatever metal object you have, like this, and then you're going to just let it dry so that we can peel it off later. And make sure it's big enough to like wrap around the head. So I used one of the other minis that you just saw there to figure out I was making this the correct size that I wanted. So here I was fixating some more glue to make the torso a bit bigger, because I kind of made it a bit short. So now it's a good size, and then I'm just going to peel off the glue here, and then we're going to wrap it around the head, which I had off screen on accident, so I'm sorry for that. But yeah, you just kind of I trimmed off a little bit of it there, long ways, so that it would fit, and then I just heated the top of the head and the bottom of the glue at the same time, and then smushed them together so that they would stick. And then I used the hot end of the hot glue gun to like shape the hood to the head and cut off any excess using the nail clippers to make sure it wasn't like broken or anything. The next thing I made was the bow for the ranger, which was probably the most tedious piece to make for this miniature. So what I did was I took a toothpick and snipped it into 3 parts using the nail clippers, and then glued it back together at like an angle. And then I took the nail clippers again and trimmed off the pointy ends so that it would be a bit shorter and wouldn't interfere with like the height of the miniature. And then I took 2 strips of hot glue and laid them down on top of the nail clippers, and then glued them together in the shape of a triangle to make the bow. And then I trimmed off a longer piece of toothpick and glued that to the bow to look like a arrow, and then I glued the bow to the miniature and stabbed the newly added hand I stabbed it through the string that was made out of hot glue so that I didn't have to glue it on, and it would actually end up being heated up and sticking to it anyways from the heat of the arrow being glued on. Also, you should make sure that the glue is actually wrapped around the weapon that the miniature is holding so that the weapon doesn't fall off. Just kind of twist it around a bit, or use your finger to fold it over before it dries so that it won't fall off. So yeah, there is our model. It's basically finished, so now we just need to add the cape. So to make the cape, what I did was I took this Altoids can and I covered the barcode in hot glue, and you want to make sure you get an even covering, no holes or anything, just nice and full. And then you just peel it off, and I was using scissors here to cut a triangle out of it so that it would actually fit with the head, and then you just use the hot part of the hot glue gun to melt it into the rest of the body, and you can also add a bit of extra glue if you need to. And then now we're gonna cut off the ends of the bobby pin so that it's not super long, and then we're just gonna stab these ends into the foam later. Bobby pins are actually kind of hard to cut, so you just kind of have to work at them and make sure you don't crush your character in the process. So to make the base, I just took a piece of foam and cut a square out of it, and then I took the sharp ends of the bobby pin and stuck them into the foam, and then I took some hot glue to secure it in place, but the gun touched the foam and kind of melted off a piece of it, but that's okay, kind of looks like a bit of terrain. And then I put hot glue on the bottom, and it was super duper hot and kind of melted the foam a bit too, so I put on an extra layer around the ring to make sure it stayed on. Or I mean on the coin, not the ring, sorry. And the coin is just kind of to keep it weighed down so it doesn't fall over, because it's super light since it's made out of toothpicks, glue, and foam. And here's the two other characters I made, and yeah, it turned out to be pretty good, so I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, go ahead and hit the like button, I guess, and you can also subscribe. I'll probably be making more videos in the future, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.